Welcome to episode 224 of Missing Pieces. This is my weekly audio journal podcast where I talk about what I'm up to and what I'm into. As we enter this episode, I have to warn you that this one may be on the shorter side, and that's because this week was on the shorter side. Last week's episode 223, I ended up recording at the last minute on Sunday morning, and as of the time of recording this, it is October 4th, which is a Friday at 2:35 p.m. So we only have 5 days of things to cover, but lots of stuff did happen in that amount of time, and I'll cover it here with you, starting with a follow-up to a follow-up. The last couple weeks, I found myself in a position where I was debating and going into the world of TikTok, changing the content strategy up, diversifying, all of that stuff, scaring some people, delighting others. And I think this week, as I talked about last week, I found the perfect thing that I want to do. And that is to do what I do best. Focus on my long form content here on YouTube, the No 0 Days lifestyle, the Home Alone with Greg series, the thing that people love the most is also the thing that I love the most. And that's what I've been creating this week. Every day I've been making a vlog, just kind of documenting my day-to-day activities. And it's been going really well. What I've been doing on TikTok, since I'm still doing my 100 days there, I don't quit on things. I've been doing what TikTok really wants you to do, and that is to take little short segments from my YouTube video. Actually, I don't think that's necessarily what they want you to do. They want you to make original vertical content. I'm not really doing that, but I am making short form videos for them using clips from my videos. I just find like the most entertaining or interesting part of that particular vlog, and then I put that on TikTok. And some of these videos now, they were like 4 minutes long when I was dedicating them specifically to TikTok. But as I mentioned, the attention span just isn't there for those kind of videos. But I do have to announce, as I started getting more data, and I think as more Greg's World people started going over to TikTok, the numbers jumped up a little bit from like 2 seconds to 10 seconds of like average viewer retention up to like 30 seconds. They're all averaging like 20 to 30 seconds. And I'm kind of giving people what they want now, because the last several videos that I uploaded there from the days that I've made, they've all been under 30 seconds. So you really don't have a reason not to watch the whole thing. And I think this strategy is going to work. I still am questioning myself, like, why am I even bothering? I don't really view TikTok as a place where I intend to really grow a following, at least for now. There's nothing financially viable there for me to make a business out of it. I mean, sure, it's fun uploading stuff there, but I'm finding like at this point that the only thing that I even do on TikTok is go there once a day to upload my video, and I see if Ronnie put out any videos. That's pretty much it. I love YouTube content, just like you probably do. I love watching videos that are 15, 20, 30 minutes. The longer, the better. The more I can just kind of chill with you and like get comfortable with that. That's what I like, because I have a lot of time on my hands. I like to mostly listen to stuff. So content like this is just like perfect for me. And if it's not something that's like visually stimulating, it's even better. So my vlogs really don't fall into that, because I do feel like I try to like fill everything with something happening. And I'm more of like a doer in those videos than I am a teller, as I am in these videos. And yeah, that's what I like to do. And that's what I see myself doing. And I just feel like YouTube is a place where you develop like a relationship between the viewer and the creator. And I've been on both sides of that. And I don't feel like that's really the case on TikTok. I feel like people go there, they're looking for their hit, and they're just swiping to find that. And if you can fulfill that for 10 seconds, great, or 30 seconds, great, 2 seconds, great. But beyond that, it's like there's not much to build there. And I just don't see that as a future for me. I think even better yet, like I'd be better off if I am going to make any short form content to put those on to YouTube. In fact, they gave me some statistics recently where I put out like 5 different shorts. They were just like videos that were sitting on my phone for years, and I put them out, and I think they got like 18,000 views. But again, we're talking about short form content where people are swiping. 23 new subscribers. So 18,000 people saw these, some of them current subscribers. And some people like maybe were subscribed and that brought them back to us, which is cool. But 23 subs. So you're not building much off of short form content. It's not a place that you build the thing that I'm trying to build, which is relationships. So my diversification strategy, I don't really think that it panned out. And this is a part of, being a content creator, experimenting, coming up with new strategies. Sometimes things pan out, sometimes things don't. And what I've realized in this is that if YouTube ever went away or this didn't become something for me, I probably just wouldn't be a creator anymore, because this is the platform that I create for. This is what I've always been. I've been a YouTuber. I'm a vlogger. I'm not a short form person. I'm my videos, like I'm looking at my past several videos, they all sit like 13 minutes or more. And that's just the place that I like to be. In fact, like even just getting that down to like a 4-minute video for short form is way too long for that. So I think the strategy that I'm employing now, I think, is going to work out really well. And I'm excited to just kind of see this through. And then once the new year comes around, because my 40th birthday is on December 28th, I'll kind of figure out what my strategy is going to be. I may never upload to TikTok again, but maybe it'll be kind of cool to have those 100 little clips there, representing 100 different days of content, 10 of them what I think pretty darn good content, and then the other 90 just being like, hey, here's a highlight from my YouTube channel. But maybe somebody on TikTok will find it, and I put like in my bio or whatever they call it, full videos on YouTube, Greg's World. Also, I should say, I found the guy with the handle Greg's World on TikTok. Some old dude that's like living his life and having a good time. And I'm like, what better person to have that name? I do wonder how many people find him or look him up because of my channel. He has like 2,000 followers. But I messaged him. I'm like, hey man, I have the handle Greg's World on YouTube, and it's nice to meet another Greg out there. And he was totally cool too. So if you do want to follow me on TikTok, I know most of you are well, the only people I hear from are against it, because the only time you hear anything on the internet is if it's super positive or super negative. More than likely negative, because people like to vent their frustrations or anger about things. And from a content creator side of things, that's what people embrace, and that's what people rally behind, is negativity. So you hear more negatives than positives. But if you do want to follow me over there for whatever reason, if the vlogs are too long for you and you just need a little swipe, No Zero Greg is where you can find me on TikTok. So that's what I'm doing for the next 86 days or something like that, and then we'll see from there. But I'm just going to keep making the content that I always enjoy making, and that's what I'm going to do. Speaking of content, though, I did change one thing this week that I really enjoyed. It was this racing wheel stand that I got. I actually made a video about a racing wheel stand a few weeks ago when I first started the Storage Room of Doom series, and there was this racing wheel stand that I got on a slick deal from Amazon, and it was only like $33. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot, and I didn't get a whole lot. I pretty much got what I paid for. The thing had some problems. The instructions were terrible. The one arm on it that held the wheel up was bent wrong. And like, it worked, it served its purpose, but I got an email from a company named Race GTing. I know it's kind of a sketchy name, but they ended up sending this wheel stand to me, and it's so much better. It's a little bit more expensive than the other one, but I really liked it. And I decided for this video, kind of out of necessity, because my neighbor was having a team of people cutting down trees that go over his driveway right outside like our house here. I was like, let me do this as like a voiceover. So I filmed all the footage of me putting together, and then I sat down and actually typed out a script where it was all the things that I wanted to say in the video, and then I did a voiceover recording it, which I should say, I had to use this microphone on my Mac. I switched it over since I'm editing on a Mac. And then when I brought it back here, I had to like change all the settings and stuff. So I'm hoping you can actually hear me now. If you can't, this is going to be one heck of a sad podcast, because that's all I got. Anyways, that video was about 4 minutes long, much shorter than my usual thing. But I really like that style, particularly when it comes to like product reviews, where instead of it being like a 15-minute vlog, which is what my one before that was, like I take people through the whole process. And that's kind of what our Lego thing is. More on that soon. This was more of like, hey, here's my thoughts on this after the fact, but here's me setting it up and kind of taking you through the process. And I thought that worked out really great. And it was fun to do. I will say the voiceover thing is very stressful. It's like the same reason that I don't like doing Lego reviews, because I feel like this immense pressure to say everything right. But I kind of just typed it out, and then I said it out loud, and then I changed it to make it more natural. Because, you know, when you're writing, you're doing that in a much more formal way than if you're speaking naturally like I'm doing now. But overall, I think it turned out really nice. People commented that they liked the voiceover, and I was proud of it and happy with it. That being said, the video tanked because that's not my usual content. My content is, if you haven't noticed, is making no 0-day vlogs. And most of my audience aren't in the market for a wheel stand, but there are people out there in the market for it. And I guarantee if somebody's considering buying that one in particular, my video is probably the one that they'll watch. And maybe, and this is what I've talked to you guys about before, maybe in making these videos that are tailored to a specific topic as opposed to here was a day in my life, that could allow people to sometimes find our channel and then want more of that. And maybe that through that, like there's a guy that I found through like a camera review that I really love, like his vlogs, and I would have never found him if I wasn't searching for that particular camera and that he was reviewing. So that's just an example of it. But as long as those things that I'm talking about or discussing fall in line with my lifestyle and things I enjoy, like a racing wheel stand, for example, I think that's perfect. Another one that's really doing well, I mentioned the Atari one before, where I kind of captured the people that are like my age or older with the Atari video, was the starting lineup video. The one where I think it was titled "The Beauty of Collecting Toys No One Wants." And it was all about these starting lineups that I've been getting back into and enjoying. And a lot of people are reminiscing about their time with starting lineups, or talking about their collections or times that they've seen them. And I just think that's really cool. It's developing like a conversation. And these are people that I haven't seen on my channel before. So I'm enjoying this. Like, I think I'm on the right path. And the funny thing is, the path that is the right path is the path that I've been on all along. And, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side, talking about diversification. I just think this is like, I'm doing the thing that I want to do. And there's no reason to buck the system or whatever you want to say, jump ship or whatever. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to ride this as long as I can. And whatever comes of this, I can just say that I had the time of my life. It's given me opportunities that I've never had before. I had time with my son throughout his formative years, and that alone is worth everything to me. And I have the memories captured too, and that's worth everything to me. So that's where I'm at in the world of content creation. If you were curious, I think I think things are going well. Speaking of gaming, though, I mentioned the wheel stand. That was pretty much my only gaming this week, was playing Gran Turismo. I will have to say that I didn't just play Gran Turismo for the video. I had to do some more scientific research, if you will. So I ended up playing that a lot more than what you see on video, because I had, you don't want to do a review without testing the product out. So for science, in product research, market research, I always tell Cody that. She's like, if I'm on my phone, like I'll be having like dessert and I'll be like scrolling through Reddit. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing market research. It's my excuse. Well, being that I'm doing market research, I had to test it out authentically. It reminds me of that. Is it from Black Sheep? He's like, after hitting me over the head repeatedly with a hammer, I had to give him my gun. And then like the reality is he just slid his gun over. I'm just making up stories to justify my actions. But I love playing Gran Turismo with the wheel and shifter and pedals. It's so much fun. That's the only gaming I did, but that's going to change tonight because it's Friday night and the weekend's coming up, and I feel like doing some gaming because we had a pretty busy week this week. Let me tell you about the world of reselling, aka Greg versus the Storage Room of Doom. Over the summer, I bought these dinosaurs for $25. I first bought a big thing of Lego for $25. Is the one that we struck first thing in the morning, where the lady was bringing out the sign, and that's when I was like, or Budman was like, "You got any Lego?" You heard him shout, and then we got the Lego, but I saw these dinosaurs while I was there, and I thought they were Jurassic World. At least a few of them looked like they were. And we left, and then I started mulling it over, as you tend to do. And I was talking to Budman about it. He's like, we're going back and getting them. So we went back, and he got them for me because I didn't want to show my face in there again. I was too embarrassed to return. The same thing happened to my Atari 7800. I saw that there. Then I got back to the car, and I was thinking about it, but I was like, I can't go back. So he's like, I'll go get it. So Budman saved me a few times when it comes to like, making an initial decision and then kind of thinking about it and then deciding later, like, okay, I think I do want that thing. So he got these dinosaurs, and I found out very quickly after really looking at them that most of them were just like what I thought were just like cheap plastic ones. Lo and behold, this week, like I was tired of this box being in the Storage Room of Doom and like having to walk around it, right? So I was like, I'm listing these bad boys. I listed the 2 big Jurassic World ones. I found a few more Jurassic World ones in there. So I was like, cool, these are worth some money. But then I found these other ones that were like this really heavy plastic called Schleich, I think it is. Schleich, I believe is how you spell it. And these are worth some money too. So I listed all those, and then I listed them as a lot. And the cool thing is, I did like a video. It's called Greg's Dinosaur World, which I thought was kind of fun. It sounds like a good theme park too. People started buying these, and a couple of them went to viewers. Like, in fact, the one that I sent out today, the person bought the lot. They sent me a really nice message. They bought the lot of dinosaurs. Maybe they're listening to this even. And they bought like a couple loose ones too. So I've been clearing these dinosaurs out, and that's a good feeling. I think we might have gotten our money back, and that's all I really wanted. If any of these don't sell after a period of time, I'm just going to donate them to the American Rescue Workers. Someone suggested Goodwill, but I don't love Goodwill. Goodwill has a name that feels all warm on the inside, but they're just scalpers in reality. They're just like me on eBay, only they do it in the store off of things that people give to them for free. And that's frustrating because that should be a place. And I know resellers probably ruin this, but like Goodwill should be a place that you go into if you don't have a lot of money and you can get some clothes or you can get whatever. And we don't really have any decent Goodwills around us, but the ones that I see people shopping at, I'm like, dude, these prices are like, you could go to Walmart and get a shirt for the price of a Goodwill shirt. But American Rescue Workers, I feel like is better. Are they? I don't know, but I feel better about donating to them. Plus, they do home pickups. So I've been accumulating all this stuff that I want to donate. And then I thought maybe someday if they're driving past the house, and I might even say that, like, don't go out of your way to get this stuff. But I have like some toys and some clothes and some shoes and some boot Lego. Don't tell. You come up and get them, and then you can just whatever happens to them. Hopefully they go to a good home, and some of the dinosaurs might be in there too, along with some other things as well. I've been having trouble selling those Skylanders, as we talked about before, and I actually took some things out of my store that had been sitting for a long time and put those in the pile too. And I'd rather see it go to a good cause and just like sit in my store and rot forever. So that's what I've been doing there. Every day I seem to be having a few sales. I've been listing action figures. I listed a few Thomas trains that I got at the flea market. They sold. Action figures are always doing well, and it's been fun like seeing this transition into my toy store. I wanted to always have this eBay toy store. I think it's a physical store. It's actually just a toy store, an eBay toy store, digital. Well, it's physical products, digital storefront, I guess is what you'd say. And things have been selling, and it's been fun. I like selling things that I'm interested in. I used to sell stuff from the bins that were just good flips, and to me, that's just boring. Like, what? Who cares about, like, I didn't care about this stuff, and now I'm like, oh, this is cool. In fact, today, this will kind of jump ahead. I went yard sale season. It fails to die because I went yard sailing today. Deb sent me an address of 3 places that were actually on the road that we live on. So we drove up the road, and I found a few things, including 9 Hot Wheels cars from like the 70s and 80s. The guy was selling them for $1 each. And I was like looking at these. I'm like, oh, these got to be worth something. And I think they will be. But nonetheless, that's 9 new listings and 9 cars that I can put in my store. And that's kind of cool. So I guess when I thought yard sale season was over last week, when Clark and I went out, it lives on. And yeah, it's kind of exciting. Although this might be the last one. I say that all the time. I'm not gonna say it anymore because every time we go out yard selling, I'm like, this is the final week of community yard sales, and all of a sudden there's more. But there are only 3 today, and one of them was one that's like a perennial, or maybe even more often than that, yard sale that I've been to before, and it's just like a couple old ladies with like decorations and like ornaments and things for like Christmas and Halloween and stuff, and that. If you haven't noticed, that's not really my style. So I was excited to find the Hot Wheels. And I also got this like little metal register thing that I thought was kind of cool, and I paid $3 for that. So I spent a whopping $12 today, but it was fun going back out for yet like a bonus week essentially of yard sailing. But other cool things that happened this week, things that I enjoy maybe even more than yard sailing, the world of Lego. Clarkman and I have been going crazy building lately. We had this routine now, like every morning we get up, we put Doug on. We've been going crazy watching Doug, which if you have not seen Doug yet, whether you have Paramount Plus, which you probably don't, if you have Disney Plus, you can watch like the new episodes of Doug, new being came out in 96 instead of 91 or 92. And Doug is just a very relatable character, especially if you're a boy or a man, or a boys to men possibly. But I don't know, he's just a kid that has a big imagination, and he has these daydreams, and he's either like the hero in him or bad things happen to him. And then there's always this life lesson in it. And I find even as an adult, like I love this show as a kid, and I find as an adult, I still connect with the show. And that's hard to find cartoons like that. And Clark loves it as well. And I feel like all the songs stuck in my head. The audio design from the show was fantastic. The voice acting is superb. I just love everything about it. And what I love most is that I'm sharing with Clarkman, but we're also building Lego while we're doing it, including the Black Panther bust, which he's right over here. If I just move the camera over a little bit, which I think I can do, you can probably see him right there. He's staring at me. He's very, very out of focus right now, but we have the Black Panther fully built this week, and I just thought it turned out awesome. I got a great deal on it. People hated on this set. $350 set. It's massive. It had the price and size going against it. No one would buy it from Lego at 40% off. It sat there forever. Nobody bought it. And then I saw it from at Walmart for $150. And I pulled the trigger on it. It sat in the storage room of doom. And then we finally got it out, started building it up. And over a course of about maybe a week or more, every morning or evening, we would like work on this thing. And it was really cool making the video on this. Turned into a 17-minute video of our building experience. It's not a review. We bring you along on the experience. What is it like to experience a Lego set? You don't very often see that in the world of Lego on YouTube, at least no one I'm subscribed to. Like you might see a set built and then people talk about it, or a set that's revealed and people discuss it before it comes out, but you never see people going like through the process, especially like in like a vlog style. Again, my specialty. So I feel like I'm like, that's like my calling, is to share that. And Clark and I did that, and it's so cool. Like when you see like our shirts change every couple minutes in the video, and it's like it's 6 o'clock in the morning again. It's like Groundhog Day, but every day we're making progress. And we finished it up, and it was a great achievement, and it looks awesome. And it was like one of those things that I can look at, and that's something that we did together. You know, so many of these Lego sets I see sitting around, it's not about the set, it's about like the experience behind it. If you can't tell, I'm very sentimental on such things, as evidenced by my entire 12-year history now, or 13-year history of documenting my entire life as a video time capsule. I like to collect things. I like to collect memories, and like it's just awesome. So we finished that, and then we also had a bonus day because Clark, man, he's had like this cough for a bit, and it hasn't really set him back too much, but it hasn't gone away. And then on Thursday morning he had a fever, so we were like, okay, keeping him home that day. And he was like well enough, and he seemed to be acting fine. So we built some Lego that day, including a Alien Space Diner, which I just edited a video on. And we also put a Lego train into our amusement park. And it was so awesome to get back into the world of trains. I've been wanting to do this forever. And I was debating, like, do I actually like go out and buy some trains? Like, do I get some HO scale? Is that the smaller one? Yeah, like HO scale trains. Or do I just get fully invested in Lego trains, since like we're already into Lego and I've got tracks and I've got trains, and I like the idea that you can like customize your trains too, or make whatever you want. And that's a big thing with Clarkman too. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So I had this passenger train like that was partially complete that I ended up buying on eBay. And then I say actually too many times. I don't want to use that as a filler word. Stop me from doing that. That's like when people say and ums. I try to avoid that if I can. I had the Lego City train, like the full box set, in the storage room. So we took the two of those and put them together and made it a long train. And Clark was so excited about it. And we had so much fun with it, not only building it, but running it and playing with it. And now we're planning out our amusement park, because that kind of cut into the space a lot when you have a track going around that's like an oval. So I think I may go to Lowe's and get a new melamine board. Shout out to Jabbo Brixar, who may be listening to this. He turned me on to that a long time ago, and I turned one table into that, but this one's going to be even bigger. That one's in the storage room. This one's going to be 7 feet by 4 feet. Right now our table is 6 by 3. And I can't go much bigger, because then it's going to start interfering with like the walkway and like sitting over here at, like, along my table desks area where I sort and build and list stuff on eBay. So I think 7 by 4 would be perfect, because it'll allow us to get enough base plates in there to keep our city or amusement park big, but also keep a train in there too, because you got to have a train. I want to have a train layout. And I love seeing him go around. Clarkman like went right back to his old self, where he puts his face down right beside the track and had it going by. And it just like took me back to the days of Thomas. And I was loving it. So speaking of loving it, we went to McDonald's that day too. I'm loving it. This video brought to you by McDonald's. I wish. Can you imagine they sponsored Missing Pieces? That'd be great. I would literally do it for like a 20-piece chicken nuggets a week. McDonald's, call me. That was pretty much like all we got into this week. Did a lot of like listings and selling things off, good stuff. I'm committed at this point to just clearing the storage room of doom out. I've got some videos I need to make in there. One, I was waiting for the end of yard sale season to make, and I think this week will be the week I do it. I want to show all the video games that I got this year because for whatever reason, the video game competition has just like died off out there. It used to be this guy would run around our town all the time. He was driving a white truck and he'd wear a purple shirt that says, "I buy video games." And dude would roll up to a yard sale, jump out of the truck with the door open, like go up and ask people and then leave. Meanwhile, Deb, I know you're probably listening to this too. My mother-in-law, she loves to shop. She takes her time at every stop. And she may be looking around there, and this guy's 4 houses up already. So there's no chance I'm buying video games. This year, completely different. In fact, I got a bunch of PC games too. So I want to do like a layout showing all, speaking of trains, only in the world of video games, I want to do a layout showing all the games that I got. And then we're going to start systematically listing those on eBay because I don't need that many Xbox 360 games. In fact, I have 6 Xbox 360s, I think, at this point that I need to start listing. I was going to do those like one at a time instead of listing 6 Xboxes. This week, let's list one, hopefully get it sold. And when it sells, list a new one. And then I want to keep a couple for myself because it's good to have backups. So I'm just excited to start clearing the storage room of doom out as opposed to actively seeking things out. I don't know if I mentioned it here, but I'm done with the bins. I'm not going back there anymore. It's not worth my time. And I don't need to be selling their stuff. I need to sell my own stuff. So the storage room of doom is going to start going down. I think the Lego side of things on my Brickatech store, because I have 2 eBay accounts, that one's going to pick up substantially as I'm going to start listing sets there, both new and used. Just things that like my goal, and I'm sure like I've talked about this so much that I feel like I probably mentioned this hundreds of times to you, but my goal in Lego is, one, to have a nice organized inventory of parts for building, because that's what Clark loves to do the most. I've got a bunch of stuff that needs sorted. So sorting and putting that stuff in the collection, number 1. Number 2, have a nice space for a Lego amusement park and then to work on that. And number 3, have display pieces that I can look around here at the studio and like be like, oh, that's some cool Lego right there. If it doesn't fall into those categories, I don't feel like I need to keep it. So a lot of Lego sets I've gotten over the years that were built, we made a video on, were broken down, put into a plastic bag and put into a drawer. I don't think that's something that I really need to sit on for the next 100 years. And I know like Clark would probably love to inherit that, I suppose. But like, what's he going to do with it all? And I like in my mind, I'm like, someday I might go back and build that. But Lego keeps making new stuff, and the new stuff they make is like so sick. And I just want to keep building that and buying that. So like my plan is almost to treat Lego like a rental system where I'm going to buy a set, build it, appreciate it. And if it's not a display piece, put it right back on eBay as a used set, sell it off, use the proceeds from that and the money made from the video to buy the next thing and just keep rolling that. I just think that's such a great move. And I do think that like my future, like if I look in my future, like 10 years from now, I think Lego is going to be a much bigger part of my content creation than what vlogging would be, because it's like, who's going to want to watch? But maybe they will. I don't know. Hopefully I have a future there, and I have, hopes and plans for new chapters of my life as we go forward, whether it be in traveling or Greg's farm, as we've talked about, or Greg's pets, whatever it is. I think the future is bright, and I wake up every day excited. I'm excited for what's to come today, and I'm like looking forward to the future and like working my way towards that. I'm just so like happy about. Speaking of things I'm happy about, I found a book finally to listen to. This is one that was on my list, and I was like, okay, I had a bad run the last week or so. I talked about that last week. Let's get a book that I can really get like into, because my podcast scene, like I'm having trouble with like, I don't have many podcasts that like people actively upload anymore. There was like 3 that I really enjoy, and sometimes in a week, none of those people put out podcasts. So I need a book, and the book that I downloaded or purchased with Audible credits, this podcast brought to you by Audible, Chronicles of Narnia. You may have heard of it. There's been a few movies, maybe just one movie, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There's a whole series of these, and they're all a part of this. It's like 30 some hours or more of Chronicles of Narnia. The bad news is I listen to this like right before I go to bed, and it literally puts me to sleep like right away. I'm still in the first chapter and I keep going back to the beginning and I fall asleep, but it's not the book's fault. It's me, because I wait until the last minute and then I'm like, oh, I'll listen to my book as I drift off. I'm like, The Chronicles of Narnia, chapter 1. I'm like, done. So yeah, I'm going to get through that. I need to start listening to it while I'm actually awake. Would be a great way to get through a book. I recommend that. If you're going to read or listen to a book, do it while you're awake. That's Greg's life advice for the week. You're welcome. You make sure you write that one down. But that was like pretty much my week. That's all the things that I got into and up to. Again, it's like short week, Monday through Friday. I made videos on all the stuff. So if you want to watch all of that, you can. This is just that condensed down to, I guess, almost about 30 minutes of what I did. So I hope you enjoyed that. But we do have a little more here. Thanks to you guys. The podcast doesn't end now. We've got some listener feedback from last week, which I encourage you, if you're listening to this, even if you're in a place that may not be convenient, keep a little note in your mind. If there's something you'd like me to discuss, if you want me to stop talking about all the boring stuff that I talk about here, and you got like a really juicy topic, throw it out there in listener feedback. And you can even do the thing that I love where you're like, long time listener, first time commenter. I'm like, heck yeah. You can do that, and it makes the show better, I think, and maybe good for you, last a little longer, and also way more interesting because it covers things that like just aren't circulating in my mind and going back and forth over and over again. Which that'd be perfect to go into Janelle's comment because she says, Greg, the word you're looking for is ruminate. I talked about how I like cycle these things. You're not obsessive. You simply ruminate on things over and over again. She says, oh, poor Roxy. Another good way to get rid of skunk smell, bath and tomato juice. I think that's the classic way. The dad from Izzy's loves to be back making train videos. And even his son likes making them with his dad. It's the mom who won't do other things. I think that's fine. That's fair. Like I said last week, I think as long as you're doing what you enjoy and you're having fun, that's the most important thing. And when you go start chasing money, not saying that that's what they were doing, because again, I think they're great peeps. I think that's where you get yourself in trouble. Or if you're chasing something that isn't authentic to you, that's when you get burnout. That's when you don't want to do it anymore. And that's like me on TikTok. That's not authentic to me. I was just like trying it out, and that's not me. I'm a long form guy. Maybe too long for some people's likings. But hey, I say make the content you want to. If the mom wants to go do other things, and I've seen her videos, I thought she did a good job. She had like something happen to her. I think like a Bell's palsy or something happened to her face, and she was making videos about that. I'm like, that's super helpful to people. Train videos are entertaining, but like somebody else that's going through that thing, and it was years ago, I can't remember what it was. She's probably cured of it by now. I was just like, that's cool. Like to put yourself out there like that is impressive too. And I just think they're really good peeps. I won't say anything about any other families with kids on YouTube, particularly with the name Ryan, but Izzy's, I think, are doing it right, and I'm proud of them, or not proud of them. Like I'm above them. I'm happy for them, is what I want to say. All right, so Janelle, thank you for the word ruminate. I'm going to say that I'm a ruminator as a Roomba-nator as opposed to an obsessive person. Next comment comes from Ashley, who says, I don't have TikTok and don't plan on getting it. How dare you? Says, I don't mind your videos in vertical view at all. I'm kidding, Ashley. She's never commenting again. Your logic moving forward seems like it makes sense, but I think wherever you choose for yourself is just fine. I prefer the longer videos too, but again, I truly enjoy your content. I know this is the very least of the content you care about, but I actually really enjoy when you share what's for dinner. It gives me ideas. Maybe we should go back to doing the HelloFresh things. People really like that series. That was so much work to edit that. I think if we were to make it happen, I just do it raw. Like the food's raw when we start, and so is the editing style. We sign up for HelloFresh again, and then Mrs. Brickitect, or Cody as she's known in some circles, she films me struggling to make everything as a noob. I think it's good content, and like it justifies the cost of HelloFresh because it is kind of expensive to do. That's one thing that we could most certainly do an affiliate thing with, as I joke about it all the time. Maybe we should. And then maybe that'll give you ideas. You can use their recipes, because that was kind of what we did. We used it for long enough that we got like a bunch of recipes from them, and then we would do the recipes every once in a while. I don't really focus on the food content though, because I guess like that's not something I'm super passionate about. Like cooking isn't. Although like the one thing that I'd want to do is smoke meats. I watch Ronnie doing his like meat videos, and I'm just like, oh, that's so sick. And then like I see people that make like really good breads and stuff, and I was like, oh, that could be cool. The only thing that I can make and do really well at this point in my life is I make pickled eggs, which I also did this week too. But I need to expand that, and maybe I could have a whole chapter of my life where it's just like I'm smoking ribs, which would be awesome, or chicken or pork or whatever. It'd just be. I think that would be not only entertaining, maybe like especially if I'm learning the process and going through it and like sharing the learning curve, but also it's beneficial for my family too, because at the end of the video, they get like a delicious spread of like some delicious ribs. Maybe that's the move. That'd be a good springtime activity. I think maybe like I'll ponder that over the winter, try to come up with a strategery, what I need to get to make this happen, and then we make it happen, because that's where I'm at right now. Like I am so, and up to my own horn, toot toot. I am like proud of myself for becoming a doer. There's lots of times in the past that I've been like, I really need to organize the storage room, I really need to get stuff listed on eBay. I really need to get these Lego sets built. Dude, I'm freaking doing it. And that makes me really happy. But yeah, we'll do some food videos for you if you want. Me making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's the extent of my abilities. Next one comes from Wrath Amon 1. Says, I'm a longtime fan that barely comments. I'm glad you're over. And I really dislike the vertical videos too, but it felt wrong to comment anything negative. Well, I appreciate that. I think people should be able to say how they feel, but like if that's the only thing you have to say is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I think that's what he's saying. While I watch on YouTube, I will not be watching on TikTok, as I feel it's a sacred place to me, where I come for specific content like movie edits, TV show edits, politics, and sport highlights that I consume in the gym. He says he doesn't want my content to ruin his algorithm, is essentially what he's saying. He says, your podcast I use for long walks and treadmill, and I watch vlogs on my computer with some snacks. I love that. Ooh, watching on the computer with some snacks. There you go. He's found the perfect balance, something I struggle with. Long walks and on the treadmill. Then he goes home, smashes down some snacks, and watches the vlogs. What better way to live life? But yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate you not commenting anything negative, because one negative comment is way more impactful than 99 positive ones. I'll say that. But I do think it's good to get people's opinions on things, because it's like, hey, if you're not vibing with this, which I can kind of see from the numbers anyway, but like, I don't know. Doesn't everyone want to just be adored and like be like, oh, Greg, this video is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's the greatest thing since you smoked ribs on the smoker. I don't know. I'm coming up with weird stuff now. We got to move on. But I appreciate you tuning into the various forms of content here, and I wish you the best as you're on your walk right now. Next one comes from Gamer EU6MN. He says, I don't know if you still have it, but you should put the Lego Batman movie Joker Manor in your amusement park. Love this podcast as always. Good luck with defeating the Storage Room of Doom. As well as this, I am 15 currently, and I've always enjoyed longer form content when most of my friends love short form, and I've been watching for 6 to 7 years. Sorry for the long random comment. Never apologize for a comment, because I love them. And I love you for the fact that you're bucking the trend with these youngsters. You're watching long form content. And to answer your question, I do have the Batman Joker Manor. It's right over there under my TV. And the only reason it's not in the amusement park is it's so darn big. Like, we have right now 3 coasters in the park, and we have room for maybe 1. So that's why I need a bigger table, because coasters are life, if you didn't know. But I appreciate you tuning in for this long. You're what we call a survivor around here. And I appreciate you not only coming in to leave a comment, but tuning into the podcast as well. Tell your friends to give long form a chance, because it's special. At least it is to me. Janelle's comment we're going to check that off. Next one comes from Ron. Says, I like today's missing pieces. Yeah, I think the whole Amityville thing turned out to be false. It's a book that I was reading last week about the Amityville horror. It's a story of where a murder happened. Multiple murders happened in a house. The guy that did the murders said he was like possessed, basically, or like some type of spirits was telling him to do it. And then this family moved in the house, and supposedly that same spirit or whatever was coming after them. And the book is the story of them who left like shortly after they moved in, like with nothing, just to close in their backs, basically. But then I got curious, like, what about the house now? This is like happened in the 70s. What about now? People have been living there for like the last 40 years peacefully and happily. And it turns out it was just like these people either wanted attention or they wanted out of their mortgage or both. And they got that. They got famous basically from it. And they wrote a book and they made movies. And there's a couple movies about it, actually, like a reboot. So yeah, it was bogus. And that kind of like took me out of it. I was like kind of intrigued. And I guess if you just listen to it as though like you can pretend that it's real, but like they're telling these things that like happen, and it's like, did that really happen? Like, did the crucifix like get flipped over upside down in the room? I don't know. But he says, he goes on to say, watching your channel since Clark was 4 years old, so he's a 5-year survivor too. I can relate to Roxy's skunk episode. My lab was also sprayed by a skunk. Not very pleasant. Have a great week. I think it's a lab thing. Labs are like, oh, look at that black and white kitty. I'm going to go investigate him. Oops, got sprayed. Hopefully it didn't get sprayed in like the face, because that Roxy got that last time. This time it was like her back hind end area, which after about a week or so, the smell started coming back a little bit. So we gave her a really good bath yesterday, and it seemed to help. But I think like the oils in her skin kind of mixed with that, and it's not good. This wasn't as bad as last time. Last time was rough, literally, because it's a dog. But I'm glad that you have your lab of your own. Watch out for the skunks out there, and give them a good petting from me, because labs are just the best, aren't they? Next one and last one comes from our good friend Sam. He says, what are you up to and into, Greg? I think you'll find out. You may have already found out. Hope you're having a glorious day. He says, it's a good thing you're planning on posting to YouTube, because that brand new TikTok account I created for you and only you was banned for multiple violations of community guidelines. What did you do? Worst part is it's not letting me appeal my ban, so I think I'm gone forever. It kind of reminds me of the Greg's Arcade situation, except I have no idea what I did other than like your videos and watch them. That's bizarre. I will say TikTok is very weird about such things. Like, I messed up one of the thumbnails and I went to fix it, and I like edited my post, and then it said your changes have been submitted and are under review. I'm like, okay. And then it says that they were not passed. And the only thing I did was change the number and like the day. I'm just like, that is so bizarre. So TikTok is very weird. I know people are very careful with their language on there too. Like, you can't say certain things. And I know people won't say the word YouTube. They won't say, like, I said the word murdered earlier. I don't think you can say that. You can say unalived. It's just so bizarre. You don't have like the freedom of speech you'd want on there, I suppose, but it's their playground and their rules, I suppose. I don't know what happened to your account, and you're not missing anything though. If you're watching YouTube videos, you're getting the whole story, just not like the little highlights that the 15-year-olds are watching apparently. He says, I'm amused that people can determine if video is good or not within 2 seconds. I see my friends do it all the time, and for some reason it drives me crazy. I would definitely keep it going though, because you never know, someone could find you in your channel. Yeah, it was a conversation that I guess I kind of took it down earlier in this episode. He goes on to say, you asked for my top list of my favorite content from you, so here you go in no particular order. Daily life, number 1. Well, no particular order. Number 1 or number 3 or number 2. He says escapades with yourself, Clark, or Cody, or all 3, and then travel. And then his final thing he says is, Greg's World has been such a huge blessing in my life ever since I started discovering your content in February of 2023. Keep up the amazing work, because you've changed my life, and I'm sure the lives of many others as well, for the better. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Thank you, Sam. That's such a sweet thing to say. You know, I always say it like it just feels like you're making home movies, and that's kind of what it is. But you don't know what people are going through out there. You don't know what's happening in their lives. And if our videos can take somebody from having a bad day to a good day, I think there's no greater win, you know. And maybe this podcast is that for you too. Maybe this is like something each week it's like your Zen moment. It's like your little thing, your routine. And that's why I do this every week, because I do think that there's someone out there, maybe Sam, maybe another person, that like this is really important to them. And that's why it's important to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to all the commenters for doing your thing and commenting. I hope you all have, or you specifically, because it's just me and you here, I hope you have a glorious week this week. And as always, I'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.